Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am coming to you on this Saturday, November 16th, 2024, with my next update video. About 5 weeks since my last update video. Before we get into it though, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you are checking out my channel for the first time. I hope you find something you like. On this channel I talk mostly about cross stitch, though sometimes I will talk about books and knitting. You can see yarny things and books on the shelf behind me there. Today though is going to be just stitching. I have so many books that I have read since I last did any kind of a book talk that I'm overwhelmed just trying to figure out how to talk about them, and a good portion of those books that I've read I would like to talk about, but it's overwhelming me a little bit. And then my knitting I left in the other room. So we're going to simplify and we're going to talk about cross stitch today. Because it has been a while. I have only worked on a few projects in that time, but I have made really big progress, including one major finish that you might have seen around the internet. Yeah, so we have enough to talk about in stitching, and I've got some planned stuff and some haul because the buying is a thing. So we have enough to talk about with stitching, and we will save those extra topics for my next update video. Yet to be determined on when that will be. We will see. So before I dive in headfirst on the projects, on the stitching projects, a couple of things, a couple of preemptory notes. There will be questions about my shawl. Yes, this is a hand knit shawl. This is the Ashburn shawl by Melanie Berg. I knit this a bunch of years ago. It is a super simple three color shawl. I knit mine using Malabrigo sock in the lettuce colorway. That's the green here. The yellow is ochre, which is one of my favorite yellows ever. And then the dark gray, sometimes it looks purple, is eggplant. And those are all Malabrigo sock. Like I said, it's 100% superwash merino. And this is a 3-color shawl that uses some slip stitch color work, as you can see, and some cool textured stitches. It's a boomerang shape. And this long length is super long that I had to knot it, and just to not trip over the tail end there. We are deep into November, and so the weather is finally giving me opportunity to wear some of my hand knits, and I'm embracing it. I don't know that I will take this off. It just feels good to wear some hand knits. I am leaning heavy into some self-care as of late, and so that is really what kind of helps us figure out why the number of projects is low, but the progress on those projects is a lot. It's been a lot, because I'm leaning on the self-care. Yeah, trying to take care of me and my family and my mental space. So I think that's all of the preemptive stuff that I have to share with you. So let's just jump right in with the stitching stuff, and let's get into it. So I have a big finish, and I debated saving it for later on in the video, but as I said, you might have seen it around the internet. So we'll start there. I finished Personal Sunshine. I did on October 31st. On my last video, I talked about how I was trying not to burn out. I was trying not to go obsessive, and trying to avoid the burnout. And that lasted for a little less than a week, and then I went just ham. I went head first, solely focused on Personal Sunshine, and I had a large amount of stitches left to do at the time of my last video, and so I didn't think it was going to happen in October. And then we get to the 25th, 26th, and the possibility was there. It was there to get it done before the end of October, and so I just went all in. And I did indeed get the finish on Personal Sunshine. So let's go ahead and take a look. I will show you the digital mock-up, or the digital preview of what it would look like finished, even though you're about to see the stitched version. And yes, so this is Personal Sunshine by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jeremiah Ketner. Jeremiah Ketner is no longer with Heaven and Earth Designs, and so this chart is officially out of print. I started this project on January 17th, 2016, and finished it on October 31st, 2024. Okay, so I pulled up some statistics so that I can share them with you. Estimated 162 total stitching days from start to finish. 103 of those days was this year alone, which is fun. Sum total, it's 106,000 stitches even, which is not very big in the scale of Heaven and Earth Designs, but this is it was an older chart, and so they didn't used to do things so extraordinarily big. Things used to run a little bit smaller. Let's see. 25 count Lugana, antique white Lugana. This was never pre-gridded. I started this before that was really a thing. So 25 count, 1/1 full cross with the called for DMCs, and I used Anchor Black instead of DMC 310 for just slightly better coverage. I did 20,000 stitches exactly in the month of October to get the finish, which is cool. I did almost 67,000 stitches of this year, and that is helping inform some of my choices going forward. I don't ever want to have a task that big. 5,500 stitches on full coverage every month, which was what my breakdown was, is not, it's not out of the realm of possibility for me, but it's also a little bit more stressful than I would like. I don't need stress from my stitching, and that proved to be somewhat stressful at times, especially when I got behind. I got to be almost 2 months behind at one point, and this prospect of trying to play catch up was a lot. It was a lot to try to play catch up. So, I mean, I did, and then I ended up finishing 2 months early. But my obsession towards the finish line notwithstanding. Anyway, I'm so excited. I am so thrilled to have her finished. So this is my 5th Heaven and Earth Design finish. It's my 5th full coverage design. It's my 2nd Jeremiah Ketner, for which there will be plenty, because I love Ketner work. I love his style. I love that he paints on wood, and so you get this kind of texture look to things. I am so excited. I'm so excited. So I'm going to show you all the back, because full coverage backs are a sight to be seen. And so yeah, you can clearly see how I stitch. I do stitch kind of in the columns, but I stitch those columns on the diagonal. So that's why you see that like that there. And it's pretty cool. I'm pleased with the back of this one. Yeah, that's fun. So yeah, so there's my Personal Sunshine. So as I said, 106,000 stitches, and I did something. So I wanted y'all to see the comparison with my first Jeremiah Ketner. My first Jeremiah Ketner I finished in 2021, in July of 2021. And I never showed it in my videos because at the time my daughter was very young. She was just shy of 6 months old at the time, and so I wasn't filming with any regularity. And so I had washed in this moment, and I boxed her up to send her to Utah to be fully finished by the rental studio. And then it took me a long time. Like, she sat in a box for a really long time. And then I did ship her, and then I canceled the shipment because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of shipping her across the country. Like I gotta get on an airplane and fly with her because I'm afraid of shipping her across the country. And then I did attempt to, like I said, and then it became cost prohibitive, just with the season of life. So she's with me. I have her. And I took her with me to StitchCon this year. So StitchCon Weekend A got a chance to see her. And New Jersey, a couple years ago, got to see her. But I never showed her here on camera. And so I'm going to do that. This is my magnum opus. Yeah. I love her so much. Yeah. So, Personal Sunshine is so cute by comparison. Like, look at this, y'all. Look at this. Just look. Personal Sunshine is 106,000 stitches. And in this moment is 277,000 stitches. Almost 3 times the size. I need this on my wall. Yeah, she needs to get framed. Really, they all need to get framed. We all know this. The backlog of things to be framed and on the wall is endless. It is absolutely endless. I love them both. They are very different pieces, and I love them both. So yeah, so those are my Ketners. I just thought that I would share in this moment with you because we never got to see her on camera before, and she's special to me. All of my full coverage pieces are special to me, but Ketners just they hold a special place in my heart. So, Personal Sunshine, all done. Yeah. So this needs to be washed, and I expect that washing will help fluff out the threads a little bit. It certainly did a little bit on in this moment. Yeah. So that's it. Personal Sunshine is all done. I got it done on the wee hours of October 31st, and the rest of the day, obviously we had Halloween that evening, but for the rest of the day, I was like, I want to go stitch on Personal Sunshine, but that would require making up stitches that don't need to be done. It's just too funny. These big finishes create tremendous hangovers, and it took me a while to work my way out of that one. I stitched very intermittently, very slowly, very irregularly for the first, I want to say, week following the finish of Personal Sunshine. So Personal Sunshine is done. My break it up into 12 ended up being a break it up into 10, and it's done. And hopefully it'll be a while before I feel that obsessive sort of pit of my stomach. There's nothing else I want to do. I don't want to eat. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to do anything except get to the finish line. Hopefully that sensation staves off for a little while, because yeah, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense, but very cool. Having a full coverage finish. I like it. Okay, let's get into some actual works in progress, for which I have just a few more. So, as I mentioned in my last video, I said I was trying to avoid the burnout, and so I worked on a couple of things before I went whole hog on Personal Sunshine. So those couple of things. The first one lives in this project bag. This is a project bag by Stitch and Button, and it's adorable. Stitch and Button, Vicky is always linked. Her shop, which is on Facebook, is always linked in the description box of my videos. because a good majority of my projects are housed in stitch and button bags. So in here lives my summer sampler. Summer sampler is by the Kooler Design Studio. This is officially designed by Sandy Orton. At the beginning of the year, I picked 5 projects that I wanted to make small monthly progress on, and this is one of those pieces. So I worked on this in October for my monthly goal of 300 stitches. On this one, that goes quickly and is never enough. It's never enough. So here's where we are now with Summer Sampler. And I got started really on this center block. I wanted to be sure that I got in some of the blues, but also stitching in the order that I like to do things. My neuroses, as aforementioned. So yeah, that went really well, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy that so much because it is a lot of long lines of that pale orangey color. But I did enjoy it, and I had a hard time putting this down. But that is where I am up to with Summer Sampler. This will come back again. Hopefully I can get to it this month. We'll talk about plans here in a little bit. So hopefully I can get to it this month. And we're coming down to the wire of the year. So 600 stitches is on the plans for this year. Whether that actually comes to fruition or not remains to be seen. Okay, after Summer Sampler, before I got back into Personal Sunshine, I wanted to work on this at some point in the month of October. I wanted at least a little bit of dark October stitching. Personal Sunshine could vaguely be dark October, but this is real obviously. So living in this project bag, this is a bag by The Brass Button, Jen over at The Brass Button. And in here lives my haunted house. So quintessential dark October stitching, pretty perfect. So this is by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist here is Dona Gelsinger. This is my largest piece. This project is massive at 550,000 stitches total, I think. She's big. And this is not even supersized, just the standard version. So that just goes to show you, this is a design that came out last year. And in 2023, and so that just kind of goes to show you just the changes that have happened in Heaven and Earth Designs charting. So I am all the way up here in page 1, and in October I had just a little over 2,100 stitches left, I think, to the page finish, and I thought I could get it done, but I was working on this and enjoying myself, and Personal Sunshine's sitting there right next to me. Hello, I would like to get finished now. So I think I put in 800 stitches on this, maybe 700 or 800 stitches. And that was all I could do before, before Personal Sunshine demanded attention. And so I got a little bit of dark October stitching, but like I even left a block unfinished, and that is so unlike me. I don't like leaving a block unfinished like from one day to the next, much less putting the project away like that. So yeah, pretty interesting. This is 25 count easy grid Lugana from Zweigart. Again, 1/1 full cross, called for DMC anchor black instead of DMC 310. So yeah, I'm pretty much nowhere with this. So this, we will talk about this again here in just a few minutes when we talk about plans for the rest of the month and the rest of the year. But this is where I got to in October. Just a sad little bit, but a little bit matters. So after Haunted House, it was Personal Sunshine to the end. November 1st, I struggled. I mean, I really did. I struggled with what to work on. can't even remember. Oh, so I decided to lean into my games to try to help me figure out what was next. And one thing that happened while I was hyper-focused on Personal Sunshine was my turn came up in Monopoly with friends. So for those that are new, I am playing a Monopoly game with my stitching with a group of friends, and my turn came up while I was hyper-focused on Personal Sunshine. And the project that I needed to work on for Monopoly that week was not Personal Sunshine. However, I had landed on a property that was already owned by somebody, and so I needed to do 200 stitches as to pay rent to that stitcher. And since this was not property ownership dependent, I was able to let the game continue without me, and then I would get to my stitching when I could. And so the timing worked out pretty good. So shortly after finishing Personal Sunshine, I pulled this project out to work on for that past turn, and then it was my turn again, and interestingly enough, it called for the same project. So I put in 700 stitches on Autumn Fairy, which lives in this project bag. This is a bag by Momily. Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions made some bags for a while, and I was fortunate enough to snag this one. So Autumn Fairy is by Chatelaine. Preview here of what this will look like finished. This is my oldest project. It is my oldest Chatelaine. I started this on January 1st, 2016, and I needed, like I said, to put in 700 stitches, and so I did that. So what I did first, we're just going to see it all. What I did first was I finished out the grape medallions. So when I last showed this to y'all, I think I had this one outlined and maybe some of the specialty stitches done up here. But I hadn't done the grapes on the vines yet themselves. And then this one was partially, the copper here was partially done, but not entirely. And then I had obviously all of the inside to fill in. And those grapes are 1/1, and the leaves around them are 1/1. So the grapes medallions part, and I think that's part like 3 or 4 maybe. Chatelaine designs are often split up into parts. They're divided into parts. So I think the grapes medallions and the grasses, this is like a long grasses, that part is done. So the top is done, the fairy is done, the grapes medallions are done except for beads. Beads will happen next year. And then to finish out my 700, I got started on the mandala. Oh, I'm so excited. I love it. I love all the blues and the autumn colors. This is good. So, I mean, you know, there's a whole mess of things going on here. A lot of parking because that's what I do. Something there that shouldn't be. Worry about that later. But anyway, so yeah, got the mandala started. So cool. So I know that I had talked about doing this as a break it up into 6 to get the finish at to hopefully get the finish at the Chatelaine retreat next summer. The long and short of it is that I'm not doing that because I'm trying for less obligation stitching in 2025. And so this is I'm either going to break it up into 12, so smaller parts, not so much of a time commitment, or I'm going to work on it when I can. And if I finish it next year, cool. And if I don't finish it next year, also cool. I'm trying for a little bit less obligation stitching, and like I said, we'll talk about it. So anyway, so that's where I am with Autumn Fairy. Very, very cool to have that mandala started. I love it. I can't wait to get back to it. The only trepidation I have with getting back to this and working on the mandala is that Once the mandala is finished, I have the tree to do, and the tree is intimidating. The tree is intimidating because it's not in Pattern Keeper. These charts are not Pattern Keeper compatible at all. So I either need to painstakingly work on recharting this so that I can use Pattern Keeper for it, or I gotta go old school and just try to deal with it. It remains to be seen what I'm gonna do. But I still have the mandala to do first, so we'll do the happy part first. So yeah, that'll be fun. So the fabric here is 32 count Belfast linen in Mellow by Picture This Plus. This is old Picture This Plus, so it's really soft. It's nice and soft. Be that from handling for the last almost 9 years, or just, you know, dye process has changed. It's nice. Very, very soft. So that is Autumn Fairy. My full coverage focus on a finish for 2025 is Sweater Weather. Sweater Weather is by Carolyn Manning Designs. It's a little design. It's like 35,000 total stitches. Geometric, very zen, very, it's fall colors, so just ticking a bunch of boxes for me. But it is my focus on a finish for 2025. And as mentioned, I'm trying for less obligation stitching. As mentioned, 5,500 stitches a month was a big ask for Personal Sunshine each month for this year. And so I am working on Sweater Weather a lot here at the tail end of 2024, so that my sections for 2025 are small, very, very limited. At the current moment, it's looking like I'm going to be at 1,500 stitches a month, but once we get into it, you'll understand that it may be less than that. So I'm going to show you the progress. This is on my frame because I'm working on it today. And so here's where we are up to. This stitching up top here, this is repurposed fabric. This was something that I had started a long time ago and decided I didn't want to stitch anymore. So this is repurposed fabric. This is 32 count Belfast linen in cream from Zweigart. And I have done a lot. I've done a lot lately. So Personal Sunshine was my project for the Great British Cross Stitch Baking Show challenge that I created. There is a FlossTube extra just a few videos ago on my channel where I talk about this. And I was doing the monogamous version with Personal Sunshine. Personal Sunshine is finished, but the show is not done yet. The season, we still have another 2 weeks left of the season. So I needed to pick a new project. I debated sort of changing the project episode to episode, but I ultimately decided to just go with this one because, like I said, trying to make the goal for next year as small as I can ahead of time. So I have done a lot, a lot. So week 6, I think it was. Let me look. Yeah. Week 6 it was. Week 6 aired here in the States on November 1st? Yes, November 1st. It aired here in the States on November 1st. And my sum total stitches for week 6 was 4,000 stitches. This being 2 over 2 on 32 count linen, 4,000 stitches takes an awful lot longer than it did on, say, Personal Sunshine. 4,000 stitches I could knock out in 3 or 4 days. This took me like 8. I think 8 days to hit 4,000, and I just did that yesterday. I just made it to 4,000 yesterday or the day before. Day before yesterday. So 4,000 stitches. So I finally finished up week 6. Then week 7 was 1,900 stitches, and I'm about 1,500 stitches towards that. So I will finish that up today. Get my last 400 stitches or so to finish my 1,900 for week 7. And then week 8 was another 3,400 stitches for me. So some big numbers going into sweater weather. At first I thought it would be cool to get like just the top few rows done, that would be sufficient. But now I'm thinking that 3,600 stitches will get me, I think this top row of pages complete. I think I'm going to finish the top row of pages because each row is 1,053 stitches. So you see the diamonds here? That's what I consider a row. That's 1,053 stitches. So another 4,000, 4 more rows. Yeah, I'm going to finish these top 2 pages. And we still have 2 more weeks to go with Great British Baking. So yeah, a lot of stitches going into sweater weather. Whenever my husband and I are watching the show, he says, oh, you know, how many stitches is that person? How many stitches is that person? And when I tell him, he's like, oh man, I bet you wish that you gave that one the lower one. And I'm like, no, I really don't wish that I gave that one the lower one, because I happen to enjoy the progress. I mean, it's kind of a win-win situation. Either I get my stitches done really fast, or I get a lot of progress. Like those are there's not really a worse of the 2 options. So yeah, so there is that. So I'm not giving any spoilers in case you are playing along with Great British and you are behind, or you are watching and you are behind. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm just going to show you my stitch counts so that you can get kind of a sense of what's happening. I have my prediction on who I think will win, and I have my prediction on who I want to win, but I'm not going to share either of those things with you because those are kind of spoilery. So yeah, so that's the Great British Cross Stitch Baking Show. I have so much fun with this. I love watching the episode and getting the information and finding out who's going to get a handshake and cheering for a handshake. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I love the show to begin with, but this is just an added layer of fun, another tier, if you will, if we're going to keep on the baking puns. So yeah, I am really enjoying the progress that I'm getting with sweater weather through Great British Baking, and we'll be seeing plenty more of that in the coming couple of weeks. Okay, I have one more work in progress to share with you, and that is a new start. So that lives in this project bag. This is a new bag from Stitch and Button. I just got this one like a week ago, and I love it. Stitch and Button bag. In here lives my The Things We Bury by Unconventional X Stitch. So preview here of what this will look like finished. As you know, Jody over at Unconventional X Stitch about a month ago, I think. My concept of time is, I don't know what that is anymore. But about a month ago, Jody lost everything to a fire. So there was a big push to support Jody and to purchase some PDFs from her so that she could hopefully get to work on the rebuilding. This is something that I purchased a while ago, and it's been sitting kind of percolating in my mind ever since I purchased it. And I even went so far as to buy fabric for it, but I don't know that I was necessarily going to start it just yet. So a couple of weeks ago, a new hashtag was popping up on Instagram. It was Phoenix's New Start. However, Phoenix is spelled PHOENUXS for Unconventional X Stitch New Start. And so I shoved this into my plans to get started. And this ended up being like absolute comfort stitching following the election. It became a source to stab something a whole lot of times. And so I ended up putting in almost 3,200 stitches over the course of, I think, 6 days. I got 2 page finishes because this is full coverage, no background, and it took a lot to put it away and to not keep going. So I'm stitching this on 25 count vintage Stormy Night Lugana from Zweigart using the called for DMC. There are 99 colors in this. It's only 97,000 stitches total. There are 99 colors, and there's not a stitch of white, and there is not a stitch of black in this. But the white in particular, you're going to be like, are you sure there's not a stitch of white? There is not a stitch of white in this whole design. So here is where I am with the first 2 pages done. No background is, it is very easy gratification. I have done less than 3,200 stitches and I have 2 pages done. Unconventional X-Stitch pages are a little bit smaller than HAED pages to begin with, but also like the top of the piece is like 10 stitches above this. So like there's all of this. So let me bring it in close so that y'all can see this. The another cool thing about no background is that you immediately get into the point. You immediately get into the thing of what you're stitching. I enjoy stitching background. I think that like I'm not going to be the one to remove background on a lot of things, but I can also appreciate the just immediately getting to the point. I am always stitching on something on this one. I'm not stitching on the background nothingness. The fabric provides my background nothingness, but so yeah, so I immediately got into one of the coils of the snake, and then I started up on this flower. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who are knowledgeable. When you see the preview, is that a peony? I've been calling it a peony in my head, but I could be wrong. So somebody correct me, let me know if that's a peony, or if it's not, then let me know. So I know that looks white, but it is a lot of the 23, 24 range of DMC colors. So the new colors, the 0, 1 through 35, it's a lot of those here in the flower petals. And then of course we're getting to the stamen here with the yellow bits. Oh, I love this so much. I'm gonna go put this back on my frame now. Yeah, this is really good. It is fun to stitch on, and like I said, it was definitely some mental self-care when I very much needed it. This stayed on my frame for a long time. So anyway, so that's where I'm up to with the things we vary. The artist here is Emerald Barkley, and I need so much more Emerald Barkley art in my life. Their art is stunning. Stunning. I love the pretty gothic. I like that kind of juxtaposition there. I love this. I love this a lot. So there are going to be Emerald Barkley prints and a lot more Emerald Barkley cross stitch in my life. For sure. Love this a lot. So that is my start on the things we bury. And that is it for the things that I have worked on / am working on as it pertains to sweater weather. Okay, so let's switch gears here, and we're going to talk about some stash acquisitions, some new project bags. Let's call it like it is. We'll talk about my new project bags, and then I will pause and go get my plans because I forgot them in the other room. So let's take a look at the new project bags that I got. First up here is one that I picked up from Jasmine's Custom Bags. Genevieve is on Instagram, is where she puts up her bags, and this is a mini, and it's darling. I absolutely love this. I love this print. just needlework things, and it is just a sweet little bag. This is what Sweater Weather lives in now. I have visions of, if you can believe it, a seasonal set of Carolyn Manning shooting star designs, and I'm gonna try to stick to just one at a time. So right now I'm working on Sweater Weather, obviously the fall version, and my Carolyn Manning shooting star project, long-term project, will live in this project bag. So that's where that lives. Yeah, super, super pretty. And the inside is a pretty kind of shiny blueprint. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, love that one. Definitely be on her Instagram, hit the bell so that you are notified when she posts them, because oftentimes she has 1 or 2 bags and they go quick. They go fast. Okay, up next are the other stitch and button bags that I have here. I showed you the one that the Things We Bury is in. This is a project bag for an upcoming new start, but this is using the Roar Collection fabrics from Tula Pink. Super cool. And in here will live my colorful dinosaurs from Una Buena Pieza, that I am starting with Elizabeth at the end of November. I think we're starting the 23rd, 24th. Since Elizabeth is in New Zealand, I will start on the 23rd here, which will be practically the 24th, if not the 24th for her. So I'm going to be starting that on the 23rd. I had pulled fabrics, and now I am second guessing my fabrics, because I was thinking that this would be a great one to put that on. This is 40 count Newcastle linen in Colleen by Grace Notes Fabrics. Colleen was helping Grace Notes at the Stitch New Jersey retreat, and so I had to pick up her namesake. Plus it's a beautiful blue. And so I thought that would be great for this, but the more that I look at it, the more that I really think it needs to be on a dark fabric. It needs to be on a black or a navy or something dark. And I don't have that in my stash. But it just pops so much better on those dark fabrics. I have a navy 32 count, but I really wanted to do it on 40. So I'm going to have a look. I'm either going to have to buy a new fabric, and I got to get on that quick, because the 23rd is in a week. Yeah, I better do that today. I better figure that out today. But anyway, so that will live in this project bag, and I am so excited to get my dinosaur started. My daughter and I were looking at that piece a couple days ago, and she's geeked about it. She's very much at the beginning stages of getting into dinosaurs. We are entering our dinosaur phase for sure. And this last round of bags from Stitch and Button were her Halloween bags, and so I picked up a couple Halloween bags because that's my kryptonite. So we have this one that is more gothic than Halloween. Dried up flowers, dead flowers, lots of spider webs. Super cool. And when I can, I get the Ort books from her because I love the Ort books. Let me show you that. I use these a lot. A lot. So her Ort books, they have a pocket here and the felt where you can lay your extra bits of thread. I love this, and you can snap it closed, keep things safe. I love these a lot. I use the heck out of them. Maybe I'll insert a picture here. I need one for Sweater Weather because I have like a pile of floss on the arm of my stitchy chair that I think this would probably help me out. And then the inside fabric here, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little bit sparkly. Yeah, love it. Okay, and then this one, I keep seeing this one and I keep avoiding it, and then I couldn't anymore. So it's this very kind of vintage Halloween looking, just kind of cool. This kind of reminds me of my daughter on Halloween because this year she went as a Squishmallow. And so she was a vampire strawberry Squishmallow. She's adorable. She's absolutely adorable. But she kind of had that similar situation going on. It was very big. It made her look very small. And then the inside print on this one is black and purple stripes, which is cool because my costume was inspired by Personal Sunshine. My daughter told me to be a witch for Halloween, and I'm not going to think too hard into why she decided I should be a witch, but I got, I have no pictures from Halloween, by the way, but I got some tights that were black and purple striped, just as my nod to Personal Sunshine. So that's kind of cool. I've got her Halloween and my Halloween in this one. So yeah, so those are the project bags. I'm sure I have more stuff, certainly on the subject of digital things, but we'll talk about things if and when they come up. Okay, I'm gonna pause here and gather up my plans from the other room. Okay, let's talk about some plans. And so these are gonna be kind of upcoming plans blended with the rest of the month plans, blended with the rest of the year plans. The long story short with my plans is that things are going to be very fluid, very subject to change, not exactly tethered to anything really. So I have my projects at the beginning of the year, my 5 small monthly goals that I am getting to as and when I can and want to, but I'm not hyper focused on making sure that those are accomplished every month. I have WIPGO, and full coverage WIPGO, I am sort of coming to terms with the fact that I'm not going to accomplish that, and I have all but officially abandoned non-full coverage WIPGO. I'm kind of feeling a little bit lawless. I am feeling very much swee-wee to the best of my abilities. Swee-wee is not a natural status for me. It's not an easy thing for me to do, but it may be a little bit somewhat closer to swee-wee for the rest of the year. I do have some things that I would still like to accomplish by the end of the year, and so that's kind of what we're working towards. Okay, so first up, I am still trying to finish up Big Brother. Big Brother cross stitch game. Big Brother finished up a month ago, and I am still working on Rubina's eviction, which was the final 4. So that's where I'm at with Big Brother stitching. And I would really like to accomplish that. So here's what I have left to do for Big Brother stitching. In that semifinal, in that final 4, Rubina was the renom. So I need to do 150 stitches for that. And then she was evicted for 500 stitches. So a sum total of 650 stitches into a favorite project. And so I determined that said favorite project lives in this project bag, stitch and button. I told you, it's a lot of stitch and button. And in here lives my Ragnarok. So Ragnarok is by Long Dog Samplers. Preview here of what this will look like finished. This is working towards the goal of the row of pages finished by the end of the year. That's an ultimate goal that I have for the year. And so I'm going to be working towards this page finish because this is it for the top row. This is quite a full page. There's quite a bit of stitching there. But 650 stitches will get me started. I also have assigned this project to the Daily 30 group monthly acrostic, which is upwards of 3,000 stitches. So I am going to work a lot on this here coming up pretty soon. I think tomorrow, honestly. I think tomorrow I'm gonna switch to this and get this started. Get this going. Okay, so that is the plan for Robina. Then we get to the finale. Ahead of the finale, I knew that the final HOH competition was going to be a 3-stage. That's the format it's been for some time now. And so came up with a game plan of 200 stitches for each winner of each of the stages of said final HOH competition. So Chelsea won the first stage of that final HOH, and so I will put in 200 stitches into Sweater Weather, which is a full coverage piece. Chelsea was my full coverage person. Then stage 2 and 3, Mackenzie won. And so my Mackenzie piece was to spin a wheel of my goals not yet met. And so I did that spin, and it pulled Beach Rat by the Artsy Housewife. And I am so grateful that this piece came up because it got the saddest start. So we'll see. Well, I'll show you that. I'll show you that now because we've already seen Sweater Weather. So that lives in this project bag by Pepper Pot Shop. And I love Beach Rat, and I'm so thrilled that I'm gonna put in 400 stitches on it. Oh my gosh, I have just the start of the bee. Yeah, I'm geeked. I'm gonna get back to this and put in 400 stitches on it. My year-end goal is 1,500 stitches on all of my non-full coverage pieces. I won't get there on this one, but that's okay. I'm gonna put some more stitches into it. Finally, because this is what I did while at StitchCon for Beach Rat's Hal. So Beach Rat will get 400 more stitches for Mackenzie's 2-stage wins in that final HOH competition. Cam, per usual, didn't do anything except get evicted. So Cam is my most recent start because when I first created this challenge, I did categories for each of the contestants, and I thought Cam might finally get started at that stage, and then he never really did. So I gave Cam my most recent start, and I need 500 stitches for his eviction there. So I'm either going to put another 500 stitches into the things we bury, or I'm going to have another new start. And I don't know what that's going to be yet. So we'll see when we get there. I still have a little bit of work to do before I get to that stage anyway. Then we have the end, the cap to the season, and that was the final votes to win. And Chelsea won 7-0. So when I talked to Sammy about this, I said, you know, I want to do 50 stitches per vote, thinking that just because of how behind we were getting with the game. But I'm just going to go with 100 stitches because Chelsea is my full coverage piece, and so 700 stitches is going to go into Sweater Weather. Because, I mean, I've got 3,600 stitches to put into it anyway, so I might as well double dip across the games. So that will close out Big Brother Cross Stitch 2024, Season 26, done and dusted. And then we will be ready for next summer to kick off a full season of Big Brother Cross Stitch. And I am so very looking forward to it. So, Big Brother is like... Big Brother Cross Stitch game is like goal number 1. I need to close that out. I've got to get that finished. I was not going to just stop and be done. I'm going to finish it out. And so that's going to be kind of where I'm at in the immediate future. Even more immediate than that, tomorrow. I am got something to look forward to, and I'm so excited about it. Erin, she is the hiking stitcher here on FlossTube, and she is walking in stitches. I think there's underscores in between each of those words on Instagram. So she has been bless you, Erin. She has been trying to get a stitchy meetup to happen for a long time. And I don't do outside in the summer. As a long sleeve 24/7 person, I don't do outside in the summer if I can avoid it. But now that the weather has cooled off, tomorrow she was like, let's get together at a local winery and let's go hang out and stitch for a few hours. So we're gonna do that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope to see a few faces there. I think Krista's going to be there. Krista is Shenandoah Valley Stitcher, channel also linked in the description box below. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some stitchy faces tomorrow, and having a glass of wine and just hanging out with some community, some like-minded people, in this, whatever this is. So, stitching. Having a glass of wine. I needed something certainly not very big, and also not super brain intensive. And so I am going to finally start the next, From the Heart Needle Art Monthly Quaker. So that lives in this project bag. This is by Black Cat X Stitchery. Tiffany is on Etsy, linked in the description box. And so I need to start October. I fell by the wayside on this series, and so I'm not going to get it done this year, and I have peace with that. I'm good with it. But this is a good one for a stitchy meetup. I am stitching this series on 28 count antique white casual linen 1/1 with DMC, and I have all of that. So yeah, so I'm going to be starting that at the stitchy meetup tomorrow, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay, so what else do I have on the plans for the rest of November and December? Another kind of year-end goal is to have a full coverage page finish in each month. And so I still need a full coverage page finish, at least one here in November and at least one in December. So I listed out all of my full coverage pieces that haven't reached the page finish yet this year, and what it would take, how many stitches it would take to get to those page finishes. And so I picked the two that I'm the closest on, just to simplify for myself. And so Haunted House is 1,300 stitches away from that page finish. And so I think I'm probably going to try to accomplish that one here in November, because we have 2 weeks left. So a lot kind of coming down the pike without a lot of time to achieve it all. So Haunted House I may try to get to here in November. And then in December, April is my next that is closest to a page finish for this year, at like 1750 I think is what it is. So that I will accomplish in December. I have a few that are just not going to reach the page finish this year, and I got to come to peace with it. I'm not quite at peace with it yet, but I'll get there. So Snow Castle, nope, didn't get there. Over the River, leaps and bounds away from a page finish, so honestly that one I'm okay with. Even though it's seasonally like perfect for right now, I'm okay with like not pushing for that page finish. It's like 5,000 stitches. Sweet Summertime, Magic Study, I think there were 6 total, and so if you take out 100, yeah. So I think it's those that aren't going to reach the page finish this year. Probably. I won't rule it out entirely because you never know what my mood's going to do. But probably that's where we're going to finish out the year. Okay. I have one more thing in plans that is tentative. And I say it because it is adding to my plate that I don't want to overfill. I don't want a super full plate, but I am being enabled and I can't seem to shake this out of my head. So this is temperature stitching. it is making the rounds, much like the TV show Cross Stitch Games are making the rounds right now. Temperature stitching. So what do I mean by temperature stitching? I mean the version that Siska Stitches got started and then Jen adapted, and now you see all kinds of iterations of it kind of popping up around FlossTube. So Siska Stitches is the one who started this, and originally her way of doing this was she had a project assigned to each degree on the centigrade temperature scale. And so she would look at the temperature for the day, the high for the day, and she would put in 100 stitches on that project for the day. So if it was 19 and then 20 and then 18 degrees, then she would work on those projects for 100 stitches each. So Jen the Caffeinated Crafter kind of revised that to suit her needs. Jen and I keep enabling each other back and forth with these stitching games. But she took Siski's original idea and revised it so that she has a project assigned to each digit 0 through 9. And so she looks at the forecast for the upcoming week, and she takes the last number of the forecasted highs and puts in 100 stitches into that relevant project. So if it says that tomorrow it's going to be 87 and the next day it's going to be 86, then she puts 100 stitches into her 7 project and 100 stitches into her 6 project. And I love it. I love it. I have been like low-key looking at my own temperatures and sort of jotting down whether I was going to play along with this, ways in which I could adapt it to suit me a little better, what have you. And I saw Sarah Stitchin' Mommy started doing this. Is it Leanne over at Small Town Stitches is doing this? And the iterations are spreading. So I created my own iteration. And this is why these stitchy games are so much fun, because they are absolutely adaptable to each and every individual style. Working on 7, potentially upwards of 7 projects in a week, in addition to the other things that I'm trying to do, does not fit me. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't really line up with how I like to do things. As you have seen, I have shown 6 projects over the last 6 weeks or so, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at the long rotations. I'm at the stage of my stitching where I'm wanting to really sink my teeth into a project for a while. And so adding this to the mix, I needed a version that wasn't upwards of 7 projects. I needed upwards of 5. So I am doing the Jen iteration further simplified. 0 and 1 are the same project. 2 and 3 are the same project. 4 and 5 are the same project. 6 and 7 are the same project. 8 and 9 are the same project. And so that's kind of how I'm going to simplify this even further. And our temperatures are not super wild right now, so for the most part, I'm going to have quite a few repeats. Okay, so I've simplified it down to 5 projects. So Jen does, her setup is that she has a look at the forecasted highs for the upcoming week, and then she pulls those numbers and figures out how many stitches needs to go into each project. Sarah, over at Stitchin' Mommy, she is looking at what the actual high was the day before and then does 30 minutes on that project. So she would do 30 minutes on the project that corresponded to the high from yesterday, kind of a thing. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to lean in on the alliteration, and we're going to go with Temperature Tuesdays. The hope and the wish and the plan and the dream is that I can be able to film on Wednesdays. So it feels kind of right that on Tuesdays I try to knock out my temperature stitching. ahead of filming on Wednesday. So on the Monday before I do my Tuesday temperature stitching, I will pull the past recorded high temperatures from the previous Monday through Sunday. So a 7-day spread of the past recorded high temperatures. And then that will help determine what my projects are going to be that I work on that Tuesday. Okay, so here's what this might look like. I did pull up AccuWeather for this month for my area. And so from Monday the 4th through Sunday the 10th, my temperatures were 64, 78, 83, 83, 76, 60, 60. Quite a range. So that's where they are written out. So I would work on my 3 and 4 project 3 times, twice for my 0-1 project, once for my 6-7 project, and once for my 8-9 project. So that's 4 projects, but a little bit more progress into each of them. Okay, now let's talk about what my temperature pieces are. I have decided to do things seasonally because I'm not a seasonal stitcher in practice, but I'd like to be. I'd like to be somebody who can stitch for the season that we're in. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in fall. And here in the States, our seasons change. I think winter solstice is December 21st or 22nd, somewhere in that range. So I will be working on fall, autumn themed pieces until that point for temperature stitching. Because I have doubled up the numbers, because I have doubled up the digits for each of the projects. So my first project is used for 0 and 1. I am following in Jen's footsteps that when I do X number of stitches, then I will swap it out for something different. But I'm going to do 2,000 stitches. So every 2,000 stitches, once this comes up 20 times, then I will swap this particular project out for a different one. Okay, so I listed out all of my fall autumn pieces and I randomly picked 5 of them. And I am honestly shocked. When I looked at my list of fall projects, it's like 75% Halloween. And I only got 1 Halloween piece managed to get squeezed into this. I don't know how that happened. How I only had 1, but only 1. So let me go through what these projects are, and I'm gonna flash up cover pages for each of them. My 0-1 project is Autumn Fairy by Chatelaine, so that worked out pretty nicely. My 2-3 is Lunar Witch by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and I'm very excited to potentially be able to work on that here coming up. My 4-5 is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews, and I haven't been able to work on that since last, I want to say fall equinox. Like, it's been a really long time since I was able to put stitches into that, so I'm very geeked about that. My 6-7 project is Fall Owl 5 by Stitch Pictorial, something like that. I found it on Etsy, and that is something that I started on Christmas Day for the passing of my Aunt Colleen. So I will be working on Fall Owl 5. And then my 8-9 pulled New Start. So that's really exciting to see the New Start in there. So what I'll do for that, I have a lot of seasonally attached pieces in my stash. In my digital stash, in my physical stash, in my I really want to stitch that. I have a lot. And so I have put them all onto a wheel, and when 8 or 9 come up, I will spin that wheel and start one of those projects. Start whatever project the wheel pulls. And that will become my 8-9 project. I'm not going to have a different new start every time 8 or 9 comes up. No. That would very quickly send me over and above 100 whips, and I'm not trying to do that. So that will remain my 8-9 project until I hit 20 times. Now, I am starting this late, and so the likelihood of me hitting any of these 20 times between now and the end of fall, between now and winter solstice, slim to none. It's just not going to happen. But this is something that I hope to continue for a while. And so I will do the same thing. At the start of winter, I will pull 5 projects from my list of winter pieces and see what happens for the duration of winter. So here is what this looks like. I just created a little sheet so that I can figure this out. So yeah, so this will be my autumn pieces for temperature stitching until winter solstice. Now, last thing that I wanted to talk about with this is that I'm not starting this until after I finish Big Brother, because I want to get that done before I add something else to the list. And I'm hoping that I have as much fun with this as it seems other folks are having with this. I'm hoping that this works for me as well as it's working for them. It just seems like a fun idea, just kind of getting some progress on a different variety of projects. And I like attaching it to the seasons. Yeah, very cool. So that is it. And that is it for the plans. I have my Whipco boards all but set. I have yet to decide if I'm going with 2 or 3 boards. And they are non-traditional, but that is going to be a conversation for another day. Because we have talked about quite enough here today. So I'm going to head off here and get this edited for you all. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support of me and my channel. I hope that you're okay, and I hope that you're stitching. I hope that you hear me when I say this, but always, as always, be kind. I will see you in the next one. Take care, y'all.